Hey, it's Mikexingchen. Happy Easter! Hope you guys are having an awesome holiday. Now, this story has nothing to do with Easter, but it's still pretty interesting and it's pretty rare because you don't often hear about high-profile celebrities talking so candidly about the topic of UFOs. So this past week, we learned that NFL superstar Aaron Rodgers believes in UFOs, and that's because he and two of his friends actually spotted one on a cold winter night in New Jersey 11 years ago. Although it's been 11 years, the Green Bay Packers quarterback still remembers it vividly and described his mysterious encounter recently on the You Made It Weird podcast with comedian Pete Holmes. Apparently, the UFO sighting went down in February 2005, the night before Rodgers was supposed to make an appearance on ESPN's Cold Pizza, which is now their first take. So Aaron Rodgers flew to the East Coast for the interview, and while he was there, he was staying with the family of former Cal teammate Steve Levy. And here's what Rodgers had to say about the experience. "We were winding down at dinner and there was a weird siren in the distance, so we go outside. It was a snowy night and we went outside, and it was one of those bright nights where it's overcast, but there's enough light from the moon to see things. And the next thing you know, we saw something in the sky. It was a large orange left to right moving object. Because of the overcast nature of the night and the snow, you couldn't make out. It was behind the clouds we were seeing, but it was definitely large in the night sky, moving from left to right. Again, it was like 12:30 at night here. It was me, Steve, and his brother that saw it." Okay, hang on a second. I just thought of something. He said he saw a large orange left to right moving object. Maybe something like this? Okay, sorry, I'm not trying to make fun of Aaron Rodgers or this story, but when he said large orange left to right moving object, that was literally the first thing that popped into my head. I think there's something wrong with me. Anyway, he continues to say, "And it goes out of sight and we look at each other and go, what in the bleep was that? You could hear it moving when it had been out of sight for like 30 seconds. And when I say 30 seconds, it felt like 5 minutes. At the time, we were kind of in shock." According to Rodgers, the group then heard what sounded like 4 fighter jets overhead, and he knew they were fighter jets because in his words, you know the sound of a fighter jet when it flies by. Rodgers also added that his UFO sighting fit into the mold of a classic sighting, saying, "Now, if you know anything about UFO sightings where you've done research, you know that a lot of times 2 things are connected to UFO sightings. 1 is the presence of fighter jets, and 2, there's a lot of sightings around nuclear power plants. So to tie it all together, the alarm we heard was from 30 miles out was a nuclear power plant that had an alarm that went off." The Packers quarterback was hesitant to share his UFO story at first, probably because he didn't want to sound crazy, but after he got started, you could tell it was a moment he clearly remembered, even though it happened 11 years ago. Now, what makes the story really cool is that although we are learning more and more about how vast the universe is and how improbable that we are the only living beings within it, it's still rare for someone to come out and say that they believe in aliens or have seen an UFO and not be ridiculed. And when I was looking at the story in the comments section, and probably in this comment section as well, there was people saying, oh, he was probably drunk or high or whatever. And yeah, UFOs don't necessarily mean aliens, and maybe he did see something that was very easily explainable, but we shouldn't be ridiculing people who've seen things that they can't explain, especially if what they think they've seen is something that, according to a lot of evidence out there, according to a lot of great minds out there, does probably exist. Anyway, I thought it was really cool that someone as high profile as Aaron Rodgers to be able to come out and tell that story, knowing he's going to get made fun of. But I thought it was a great story and I'm glad he told it. All right, guys, let me hear your thoughts about Aaron Rodgers' story in the comments below. And if you have a story about a UFO sighting, yeah, let me know in the comments as well. Thanks for watching, everybody. Happy Easter.